Hey, everybody. It's me, Maya Azucena, and I am so very happy to have my dear friend Ivan Katz, aka Ive09, world traveled musician, drummer, music producer, studio owner out of New York City, and also, well, my brother in law. So, Ivan, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
So I am going to ask if you wouldn't mind sharing a moment, a story, or a time when you were made to feel I am not enough.
Yeah, so I was thinking about when I was first really getting my performing drumming career together. I was trying to play in all different kinds of musical situations, which is always about finding the right fit. And I remember I was playing with this band, and they were telling me that I wasn't playing loud enough, and I believed them. But when I look back on it, they were all just playing too loud. And that's very interesting with musicians, because it's all about dynamics and it's all relative. Um, if you can't hear someone, you can play softer, no matter what instrument you have. So I was like 21, and these guys were a little older, and they're trying to tell me, no, you're not hitting hard enough, you're not playing loud enough. And it really wasn't the case. They were all just playing too busy and too loud, so they couldn't hear the nasty groove I was putting down, And that's an interesting thing. I think when you apply it to like rhythm section in bands, that idea where it's like, are you not giving enough? Or does somebody else need to listen more and bring their level down so they can hear you?
Did it psychologically affect your playing or, for a while, like that kind of a comment? Did it really
In that particular band, and I ended up quitting that band. And that band went nowhere. So I ended up quitting because only in that situation, which is a good question. Yeah, I felt it did psychologically, because the vibe was these musicians are trying to tell me I'm not giving enough, when in reality the audience was loving the groove and the whole thing. And these musicians, what's interesting about it, when I look back on it with no names, I feel like at the end of the day it was their insecurity. Because if they were confident in their playing, they would have turned down and listened to me. And after I left that band, I had some opportunities to play with some much more experienced, seasoned players. And I was like, wait a minute, these guys are playing at like half the volume. They're not telling me to hit harder. In fact, they're telling me to hit softer, which is like the opposite of what these cats were doing.
So there's also it sounds like there's something in this idea of trusting yourself to begin with. Now that you're sharing this, because it stuck with you, this happened many years ago at the beginning of your career. So those comments can cut, and stick with us. What would you say to your earlier self now that you have life experience and you have gained this perspective? What would you say to your earlier self?
I would say trust yourself. You're putting down this nasty groove. You're lighting the whole thing up. Don't let anybody else berate you. Trust what you are doing and what you are bringing. And you can take constructive criticism. That's okay. You don't have to say, "Oh no, don't tell me what to do." You can listen. And you can say, okay, thank you for your feedback, but this is what I'm giving you. This is me. You called me to play. This is what I got for you. No disrespect, but if it's not working for you, then get somebody else. Because I'm me, and this is what I'm giving you. And if you can't get with this, no hard feelings. Don't tell me I'm not enough. Maybe I'm just not the right fit for your mediocre band.
You know what? It's so interesting what you just said. Also sounds like it can be applied to relationships and other areas of life,
Absolutely.
Because I think sometimes we live our lives so concerned about the judgment of others, and it's really their judgment is not relevant. What's important is that it's just simply not the right fit. And that's a really interesting conclusion, like to go through life realizing, wow, someone else's judgment of me shouldn't shape my life. I just need to go into environments where I actually fit and am appreciated, you know?
Yeah,
Well,
that's a good
that's
point.
yeah. Well, Ivan Katz, thank you so much for sharing one of your I am enough stories.
I am enough, and you are enough. Are you ready to share your I am enough story?